Welcome back to the Poplar Report. This Wednesday morning, we got another Watchmen update for you all. We got FBI opening thousands of domestic terrorism cases just in the last few days. There seems to be some pretty big movement there. India has apparently chosen its side for World War III, and we may not like how they've chosen. The United States continues to blow Venezuelan civilian ships out of the water without due process. It's an interesting situation. And Trump has hit the New York Times with a defamation lawsuit. And let's just say it's a lot of money. Israel hits Hodeida again with airstrikes, and several new scams being reported by the Watchmen community. That and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. Breaking stories here and keeping ahead of shortages all the time. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts like you. If you want to get your retirement savings out of stocks and bonds and other risky things, get into something safer like physical precious metals, Jonathan and his team can walk you through it, let you know exactly what that would look like, and you can make a decision for yourself. If you'd like to find out more, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, President Trump says that the United States has a buyer for TikTok. So this is going to be pulling this out of the fire. So all the young people will be okay. They won't have fits of screaming at the sky. Apparently, it's going to be bought up by Oracle and other investors, and China has greenlit this in order to keep the United States from shutting down operations. It seems like that is basically a deal made with the Trump administration because President Trump is looking to head over to China. This will keep the TikTok operating in the United States, but under U.S. ownership. All right, Israel has launched airstrikes of Houthi-held Hodeida, which is a Yemen port, after several more missiles were intercepted being launched from Yemen at Israel. Israel struck the port, saying that they targeted the infrastructure there that is being used by the Houthi rebels in order to launch strikes against Israel directly. The United States has a peace deal or something like that, a ceasefire with the Houthis, so the United States is not technically involved anymore. It's all a confusing thing. The United States has destroyed a second and third Venezuelan boat. This is without being boarded, without that kind of stuff. Apparently, U.S. military is using standoff weapons to just blow the ships out of the water. Now, they're saying that they're cartel ships loaded up with drugs. And they are in international water, so because they're considered terrorists, and same logic of dropping Predator drone missiles on terrorists in Somalia or Yemen or wherever they may happen to be. They are just being executed by the U.S. government. Not sure I'm very happy with that situation. These are all situations where it's bad stuff happening, but it couldn't be happening to better people. Cartel members, and I'm assuming that the U.S. military is absolutely verifying that these are cartels moving pharmaceuticals in order to kill American citizens before they blow them out of the water. But, I'm not privy to that data. So we just either have to trust the U.S. government or we just need to criticize the process, I guess. India has chosen to join the Zapad 25 war games in Belarus. So Russia, Belarus, other countries are there, including military units from Iran. I don't believe I've heard of any North Korean units there, but I would not be surprised at all if that was the case. But Indian military units are, well, let's just say a little surprising. We would not expect to see them there, but you do war games with the team that you're planning on fighting alongside, and the fact that we got Chinese and Russian and Belarus and then India there too is concerning. There are a couple U.S. observers there. Generally, these kind of war games allow other countries to come and observe. Of course, they're like told, stand right here and you can look, but you can't take pictures and you can't do, you can just stand there and watch. It's kind of you're going to have to see that. Nordic defense ministers, including Denmark, Iceland, and Sweden and Norway, having military exercises in Greenland. The United States has not been invited after President Trump has basically tried to get Greenland to vote to be autonomous from Denmark and then basically vote to join the United States. Not sure exactly what the game plan is there on that, but President Trump continues to drive the wedge between Greenland and Denmark. Basically, Denmark is not exploiting the resources and minerals of Greenland, and also the United States would like to use Greenland for more military bases. The United States has military bases on Greenland already, though. Luxembourg, a country that is actually a country, go figure, will recognize the state of Palestine as a country at the UN summit next week. We're going to see a whole bunch of European countries and other countries coming out in support of a two-state solution, whatever that means, of Israel. Israel is occupying the territory and has allowed the Palestinians to have autonomy, but nobody's debating the fact that these areas are under the protection of Israel, and they have been since these guys lost the war, several wars, and nobody else claims ownership of these Palestinian territories. So it's kind of like it's like the UN stepping in and being like, California is an independent country, and a whole bunch of other countries just signing up and going, yeah, that's right. It would be odd, to say the least. And like I said before, it doesn't solve anything. I mean, the fact that the Palestinians are fighting, actively fighting, they're not fighting for their independence. They're fighting for the extermination of the Jewish people, which I don't see how Israel can really have a peace deal with people who are literally trying to exterminate you. And just pull up Hamas's, they have their manifesto. It says right on there. It says it right there. So I don't know how you can have peace with them. You can maybe have peace with somebody else that represents the Palestinians, but anyway. The FBI has confirmed that 1,700 domestic terrorism cases have been opened in just the last number of days. A large chunk of these, or most of them, but that's the quote, a large chunk of them are leftist extremists. They didn't say leftist extremists, but read between the lines. Most of these cases are people trying to get other people to do domestic terrorism, and people who may be attempting to commit domestic terrorism. We've got whole groups that are planning attacks and such, including Antifa groups. President Trump has launched a lawsuit of the New York Times and their publisher for $15 billion. So I guess he's tired of Elon Musk being richer than him, and President Trump, obviously the New York Times could never pay that amount of money. For defamation, the lawsuit claims New York Times series of articles and books published last year damaged President Trump's business and personal reputation. So again, couldn't be happening to a better group of people. Just glad New York Times is like up there of the worst publishers out there. They just as leftist as they can get. Anyway, they did not have any sort of objectivity during the past election cycle. They totally were all in on the Democrats and just, yeah. Campaign contributions, let's just put it that way. Ford Motors is going to be cutting up to 1,000 jobs. Wait, it's not so bad. In Germany's Cologne e-car plant. So this is happening in Germany. Ford is going to cut 1,000 jobs as electric auto plant there due to lower than expected demand for battery-powered cars. And the unwritten thing here is also due to the fact that Germany has such ridiculous sanctions, tariffs on United States automakers. They give massive subsidies to German automakers, and then they don't give them to American automakers, even when those American automakers are building the cars in Germany. The European Union is so anti-American, it's ridiculous. Baby Hello says, I bought a bag of organic yellow onions from Publix, got home and opened the bag, and all of them but one were already molded. This has never happened to me before, but we're seeing lots of complaints of produce turning. LJ Fullhouse says, I planted cherry tomatoes and one mortgage lifter tomato plant. The cherry tomatoes have grown like weeds, but the mortgage lifter tomatoes hardly ripen and have blossom and rot. But it's not just the blossom that's rotting. Some develop fully, no rot, but then they never ripen. They just end up slowly rotting eventually. Lots of garden reports coming in, not good this year. Deep Quake Paul says, no bees here in northern Kentucky either, all summer long. Very strange. Raptor Hunter says, I work at Ace Hardware, and I've seen prices on almost everything double lately. I'm only making $12 an hour, and it takes me 2 hours to earn enough money just to buy the seasoning bottles that we have. Also, lots of items keep getting returned daily for defective parts. Native Texan says, Hunt County, Texas. The fire ants in my backyard and my front yard are very aggressive. We're talking about how the ants seem to be getting super aggressive across the country due to the fact that they are sensing a very bad winter coming. I've never witnessed ants being this aggressive. I kill the ant pile and 3 more appear. I've lived in this county 57 years and have always enjoyed a nice garden, spending time outdoors and allowing my pet to go outside. This previous summer, I do not allow my pet to go outside and fear that she may be eaten up with the ants. I have not spent time at my pool, and my garden was a disaster. One little tip on the ants is to take out the ants. What you can do is if you can get a piece of glass, you take the glass and you just put it on top of the ant pile. And the sun comes down, cooks the ants. You can also use black trash bags to do the same thing if you have a nice sunny day and it just cooks the ants alive. The black trash bag is probably a little safer though. Less likely to start a fire, but the glass is a little faster. Rhonda says, we bought a gallon of Stater Brothers ice cream, Spumani flavor. There was a rusty large nail deep in the chocolate. This is Hesperia, California. It's stuff that shouldn't be happening with food. It's just happening all over the place. The quality of American food is significantly decreasing, isn't it? It's not just the imported food either. The quality of produce, the quality of everything is just going downhill. And the safety, Americans used to take pride in their work. And sadly, that is something that has gone by the wayside. JMR in Ohio says, I have been working in my yard getting ready for spring. I found a log that's had about 2 or 3 bees going in and out, but I couldn't locate the entrance. However, somehow yellow jackets are finding their way into my house. I just let them back out. I'm trying to keep my pollinators alive. I don't use pesticides in my yard. I let most of the weeds grow in a section of my yard, but most of my plants outside did not grow, but the ones inside my house are growing. I took one of my plants outside and it died. Well, that's very consistent with our concerns about what's coming down from above. And not really the sun so much as overhead aircraft and stuff. Randy says, I found a country classic music station out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and just outside of range of our station. Well, I found out I could stream it on iHeartRadio, so I listen often. While listening to the station, when the commercials come on, someone has hacked or is paying the station to play what sounds like a demon growling with shrills in the background for about a 30-second commercial. This has happened multiple times. My wife was with me and heard this also, so I'm not crazy. I was wondering if anyone else is experiencing this while listening to iHeartRadio. Is anyone hearing weird, demonic type advertisements? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure you use the word update, of course. Solotap says, in central Minnesota, in the fall every year, we have a big problem with aggressive bugs. Bees, wasps, horseflies. Any bug that moves is extremely hungry this time of year. They will attack you, your pets, your plants, your home. You can remedy this by taking a tote, cutting several half-inch holes in it, and strapping a chunk of meat to the underside of the lid. It will attract the pest bugs and the wasps, and bees will kill them for food, for their hives for winter. Honeybees and wasps will also eat the meat before the cold sets in. It isn't ideal, but it seems to work, especially if you place the tote away from your home. Just bugs, they have a way of sensing the winter's coming, don't they? Ruth says 5 hours south of Chicago, went to a farm supply store and noticed multiple vans with Iowa plates, men videoing people in the parking lot. In the stores, they were full of young men of different nationalities buying clothes and food. I left there and went to Walmart, and the vans were there also, walking out of the store, and in a group of same people walking in and around. There were about 20 young men walking into the store. I just saying, keep your head on a swivel. I do, and otherwise, I would never have noticed anything. Iowa plates, white unmarked vehicles. Yeah, it could be a federal enforcement action, looking for people who are not supposed to be there, or could be something else. Just keep your eyes out on what's happening around you, friends, because there's always more going on around you than what you're aware of. Chrism says, I wanted to let your viewers know of a new scam. I live in a suburb of Denver, and our chief of police has warned people going door to door, asking to inspect for bug spraying. They're actually checking out how to break into houses. The chief said that there were several victims already. We had a person come to our door for the same thing. We told them no. Get your own no soliciting and no trespassing signs up. Use caution, please. And finally here, Colorado pack rat prepper says, hearing about the possible scam of a single mother having to pay back unemployment, which we reported on earlier, she really needs to check into it first before repayment. Here's another scam. Back in June, I got a ticket for expired plates. I paid the ticket, $115, on July 2nd in person at the courthouse. The middle of July, I got a text message saying I need to send money to someone who looked official at Colorado governor letterhead because the ticket was not paid. Since I had already paid, I ignored it. Then at the end of July, I got another text message saying my driver's license plates, insurance, and all had been suspended, and a warrant for my arrest had been issued. Send payment immediately with all sorts of fees attached. I called the courthouse and was told that the DMV there had issued an alert that it was a scam and did not pay or open it. Do not pay and do not open it. Just like the toll scam which got a bunch of those people too. So everyone needs to verify any repayment of anything to see if it's legitimate, not a scam. Anyone asking you for money, anyone asking you to click on links, please, please, please be careful. As in, don't do those things, right? All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.